If you're seeing this video, there's a good chance that as a man, you're feeling a little stuck. You're feeling like life just isn't going the way you want it to, and you're living somebody else's life. You're living somebody else's dream, and you seem to have no control over your own life. Well, I'll tell you, man, you're not alone, and I'll also tell you that it's not your fault. But once we identify it and know that it's our responsibility to fix it, it is your fault if you don't fix it. So in this video, I intend to go over why it is that us men tend to get in a bit of a rut, get in a hole, and just can't seem to get out of it. Where our relationships are, they're either shitty or mediocre at best. We're working to make some other guy rich. We are fat, weak, just can't find the motivation to fix it, can't find the time to get to the gym, get in shape, eat well. Well, I'm going to tell you right now that is a very, very, very common problem that all men face right now. Or a lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And there is a way out of that. But it may not be what you think. So let me break this down in the way that I've seen this unfold and where I've managed to have some success in my own life with at least being able to wake up and be pretty happy with what I see in the mirror. The problem that we have is that we've lost the fact that us men are creators. We are creators. And when we aren't creating, we feel detached. We feel lost. We feel not part of something better. Because what we have become is consumers. And again, that isn't necessarily your fault. There is a system in play here in this world right now, and I'm not going to go some conspiracy crazy stuff here on how that system came to be, because I don't know if I actually know how it came to be. I have all kinds of speculation and opinions, but I don't believe I could be accurate enough to tell you how this happened, how we got here. But what I can be very confident in is that we are here. And there is something at play right now that keeps you distracted. It keeps you depressed. It keeps you anxious. And at times it tries to tell you how to fix that. But that system still wants you to fix your depression, your anxiety, your problems, all these things, all these words that get thrown around. They want to fix it with their methods. They provide you the problem and then sell you the cure. Well, I don't trust that, and I never have, and it always kind of felt odd. And in the last, 10 years, let's say, I've noticed that it's been amplified a lot, which I don't know how to read that, but that's not what this channel is about. What this channel is about is identifying the fact that there is something at play here. And I don't know if it's people that are pulling strings. I don't know if it's an overarching energy or something I don't know. I'm not here to define that. But what I do want to say is that there is some things we can do that basically spit in the face of all the things that keep you stuck and keep you broke and keep you fat and keep you single or keep you in a bad relationship. And like I said, they've turned you into a consumer and robbed you of being a creator. Now, when we think about being creative, we think about painting a beautiful picture or art. Typically, we think about art when we think about creativeness. And that isn't even close. That is a part of creation, but it isn't what creation is. Creation is using your imagination to build something, to bring to life something that wasn't there before. So if your life is shitty, for lack of a better term right now, we have to use that creative part of ourselves to create a better life, right? And the opposite of creation is consumption. So let that sink in. The more you're consuming, you consume. We're addicted to online shopping. We're addicted to TikTok, to Instagram, to porn, to validation in general. We're always looking for that pat on the back. And when we get into a relationship with a woman, we take. They can never give enough. And then they do the same back. And we end up in this terrible, terrible cycle. And it's all because we are consuming when we should be creating. And that creativeness comes from your imagination, which is also intertwined with your subconscious mind. And once that subconscious mind has been programmed through the imagination and then the thoughts and feelings that get attached to that imagination, the subconscious connects to everything. Your subconscious mind is this energetic field that is connected to absolutely everything in this universe, essentially. Now, I'll get into the quantum physics of that later on. I don't want to get too far in the weeds because that's a whole other subject, but just understand that you are connected to everything. And there's a lot of people and dogma going around that really pushes, I believe, men away from that. So I've seen a lot of women really get attached to this spirituality piece, which makes sense in that they're a little more open to that. And it's actually this version of spirituality has been, I believe, feminized. So women do attach to it more. And a lot of us men are kind of repelled from the spirituality piece. And then the remainder is attached to religion. And it's just, we miss the boat as men on the spirituality piece. And what spirituality is to me anyway, and what I see it work really well, spirituality is connecting your subconscious mind to that imagination and then letting the subconscious go out into the energy field, so to speak, and attach to the things that you want to bring to you. And also attach to creating a different personality within yourself that can not only take advantage of those manifestations, is actually what they are when they come to you, but can maintain them and make them thrive. That is where spirituality comes in. So if you think about spirituality as far as men go, it's massive, it's huge, but we've lost it because it's very hard to be that way when we're distracted by everything we see around us, this 3D world that we just see around us that in a lot of cases sucks. We don't like it. We need to get outside of that and create. So what happens with this is your imagination is a very, very, very powerful thing. So is your subconscious mind. And our imagination basically gets curb stomped out of you when you're in as a child. Think back to when you were 5, 6 years old. You use your imagination and things that aren't actually real become real. In your mind, they become real. Well, that is inherent in us. That has been programmed or built into our DNA somewhere along the way. And it is we are the only creature on this planet that has that. A deer, a moose, a bear, a bird, they don't have an imagination. We're the only conscious or, mammal or creator or animal. Fuck. Come on, man. We're the only living being on this planet that has an imagination. So why is that? Why do we have it? Nobody else does. It's because we have the ability to actually project into the future. We have the ability to see a better future for ourselves. A deer can't do that. It has a bunch of what would be instinctual practices that it puts into play that are just bred into its DNA over millions of years. And then it has a slight ability to remember certain circumstances in which it pertains to safety and food. And that's about it. Where us humans can actually think into the future and project where we want to go. And we get robbed of that imaginative ability at very young, right? Like when you were a kid, you wanted to be everything. And you could have been. If our parents hadn't been part of the same system, they would have cultivated that and allowed you to become something great. But instead, we look at the system and say, well, no, you can have your fun pretending when you're young. So that's what a lot of time we call our imagination is pretending, which is not right because pretending means that it's not real. Your imagination, those thoughts, those projections of the future are very real. It's how everything comes to be. Elon Musk's imagination wants to take us to Mars. I don't know if he can get there. I wouldn't say that's pretending, but that's his imagination that gets us there or gets him there. So we need to reconnect with that part of our brain, that imagination, and then use it for what it was designed to be used for. And that is to create a life that you love to live every day. As I was saying before, is we're trained as kids or as we get older to go get a job, get in the system, go to school, all these things. And I'm not saying those are wrong. I think they work very good to make you part of the system. But I think that the system ultimately ends up failing most of us. And we end up as a slave to it. The show The Matrix. Everybody's seen that. It's a perfect example of this. It's your brain is stuck inside this box. Your consciousness is stuck inside this box. And there's a power out there that is attached to the system that I talk about that keeps you inside that box. It wants you to feel free within the confines of its box. I have cattle. I own some cattle. And they feel free within the fence. And I want to keep them in the fence, but have them feel as free as possible within that so they don't escape. That's what we are within this system. We're a bunch of cattle. It's like, here's the fence. Have as much fun as you want within that fence, but God forbid you step outside of it. And again, too, is what happens to a cow if it steps outside that fence too many times. Well, it turns into a ribeye pretty damn quick. So what I'm saying to this is we need to find a way out of that box, okay? And it can happen. It can happen actually pretty damn quick. But what we need to do is tap into these spiritual faculties or these subconscious faculties of our mind and be able to project into the future this life we want to live. And then put the proper practices in play to get to that point, because there's two sides to what I will go over in all the videos that I do. And those are two sides. Is there's a very spiritual or a quantum physical part of this. And then there is your 3D tangible practical application of how to nurture and amplify those gifts that will be given to you by the world around you once you can use your mind to connect to those gifts and let them come to you. Now, I strongly believe in this manifestation piece, and it's weird because I probably don't look like a guy that should be sitting here talking to you about spirituality and manifestation and the wonders of the universe, so to speak. But we need more guys like that to step up and talk about this, because this is our way out. This is our way out. This isn't hocus pocus. This isn't, a bunch of weird dudes or people sitting on a beach with funny necklaces and robes and, attaching to their, higher self. I mean, you do have a higher self. But my goal is to help you connect to that in more of a practical way that more men can resonate with. Because I'm not saying that what those guys do is wrong. It's not wrong. They probably feel a hell of a lot better about themselves than we do most days. But the problem is what the system has done is it kind of alienates us, more in the middle kind of men that are just a bunch of good old boys trying to do the right thing, so to speak. So we get alienated by this, and religion takes its toll on detaching us from true spirituality. I'll get into that in the future, and it'll probably piss a lot of people off, but all I ask is that you bear with me with that, and that is because I'm not saying religion is wrong. The community aspect of it and all of that is great. I really question what religion has manipulated within what they teach you in order to kind of get you to conform to their system. But let's get to that in the future. But for now, what I want you to do is really think about this. I want you to think about 2 or 3 things here before I leave you and see you in the next video. Number 1 is I want you to be aware that your thoughts and your emotions attached to those thoughts become your world. And that makes you responsible for it, which is kind of scary. But at the same time, it actually allows you to do some really cool stuff. And it actually allows you to detach from the past and whatever's happened to you in the past up till this point. It allows you to detach from that as well and leave that shit behind you, man. Whatever's happened to you, I've had some pretty awful shit happen to me when I was young. And I think we all have a bit of a story like that. But that's okay. We can leave that shit in the past. We don't have to live there. We need to build a future. We need to be focusing ahead. We can't be focusing behind, and we shouldn't be focusing around. We should be focusing on the point you're at right now and everything ahead of that. So until that time, and until the next one, you take care, and I appreciate the hell out of you guys.